Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein on a double deal involving Omar Marmoush and Savinho. Fabrizio Romano on Tottenham and Pedro Neto, and Guillermo Vicario sends a message to Spurs fans. This is the daily Tottenham news headlines. Hi everyone, hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel and to another edition of the Daily Tottenham News Headlines, where I'll be going through all the latest news, rumours and reports. My name is Leader Dorset Spur, and if you're watching on YouTube, please like, comment and subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. Okay, so let's get into it. Fabrizio Romano, Tottenham to try to accelerate today for a double deal involving Omar Marmoush and Savinho. The plan for Spurs remains two wingers, Gakpo and Savinho, plus a striker. Deal on. Pedro Neto, backup option, only if Savinho doesn't join. David Ornstein on this story for The Athletic. Tottenham Hotspur working on a double deal to sign Savinho and Omar Marmoush from Manchester City. THFC aiming to land both 22-year-old Brazil winger and 27-year-old Egypt forward as key targets to strengthen attack. Not done, but talks with Manchester City are advancing. Fabrizio Romano and Tottenham and Pedro Neto. Tottenham have Pedro Neto on their list if the Savinho deal doesn't happen. So Pedro Neto is on Tottenham list and remains on Tottenham list in case something happens and Savinho doesn't join. And then Pedro Neto is on the list at Al Hilal and as a possibility. Also, in this case, depending on opportunities, he is not the only name for Al Hilal, but is a name. So let's see about this domino of wingers. But for sure, Pedro Neto is one to watch. Tottenham have won the race for West Ham midfielder Isaac Allen, beating off interest from several clubs to land the England under-15 captain, according to the Football Insider. Guillermo Vicario sends a message to the Spurs fans following his move to Juventus. Dear Spurs fans, where do I even start? Thank you is the first word that comes to mind. You made me feel welcomed from the moment I arrived. Playing in the Premier League for a huge club has always been a dream, and for this season Tottenham will forever have a special place in my heart and in my memories. A big thank you to the club, all the staff, all the teammates I played with in these years. Winning the Europa League together and seeing the joy we gave our fans is a memory that will never fade away, and something that I will be forever proud of. Good luck for what seems to be a very exciting season ahead. And one more time, thank you. And finally, James Maddison on his Instagram has posted all smiles ready for game week 1, suggesting he's ready to play in his over the reported injury that had been keeping him out of pre-season. So my thoughts on these stories. Well, the Savinho and Gakpo ones have been going on a little while now. So we're kind of getting a little bit bored with it, aren't we? We just want it to happen if it's going to happen. There's still lots of questions around whether Savinho is actually the answer. Is he actually a De Zerbi signing? Is De Zerbi behind this one? Does he actually want this one? Because we've been looking at that player for over a year. So was linked with Thomas Frank's time and so on. So I guess De Zerbi will need to sign off. He seems to be the sort of manager that he's saying, I'm not going to just take anyone. I want what I want. But Savinho is a player that would fit his type of play for sure. He hasn't had the opportunities really at Manchester City. It's overladen with players up there. And so maybe he could be the one to come in and really do the deal. He's only 22 years of age. Gakpo, again, this one, we're kind of waiting for the dominoes to fall on this really, because Liverpool are kind of in talks with a couple of Paris Saint-Germain players. Bradley Barcola is one of them that springs to mind. And so unlikely to happen unless the dominoes start to fall in that situation. But the Fabrizio Romano story of Omar Marmoush and Savinho is backed up as well by David Ornstein, who is considered a top tier in terms of in the know and so on. So it does give credence to it, and hopefully, given that there's been reports from Manchester City's manager saying, they are surplus to requirements and they can stay if they want to, but if the price is right, so it all feels like it is building a little bit. I personally like Marmoush. I think he's a good player. I'd like to see him come to Spurs for sure. Not sure he would be the out and out number 9 that we're really looking for, but another forward option. I haven't personally given up on Solanke just yet. I know lots of people have, and they have some other pet names for him. I haven't given up on him as yet. I think he may well be able to come if he can stay fit. That's the biggest issue for me. I think when he's played well. It's just a case of him actually staying fit. And with Richarlison linked to Everton, likely to go, I think, if they can kind of reach an agreement, which would be a good move for Spurs as well, as he's kind of coming towards the end of his time at Spurs. So yeah, if this one could happen, that would be really, really good. But there is a lot of credence to this double deal at the moment, so seems to be gathering pace. Pedro Neto, will Tottenham buy a player from Chelsea? Will we buy a player directly from Chelsea? I don't know. I suppose with Chelsea spending the money they're spending, if they can get money in, then that's a priority for them, because they don't want to be done for more cheating, do they, really? Spending more than they can afford. They don't really need that, do they, Chelsea? So I don't know. It could happen, I suppose, but I think maybe this is one that's kind of being put out there to put pressure on Manchester City, that the deal may not need to happen if they've got other options. Putting a little bit of pressure on that way, potentially. Let's see what happens. And I'm sure they would probably, Chelsea would get more money from from Al Hilal than they will from Spurs, but we'll see. I know it's a little bit of a late one, really, with Vicario's message to the Spurs, but I just liked the message. I thought it was quite a nice one. I think with Vicario, he gets a real bad deal. He is a great shot stopper. He's done really well for Spurs over the course of the time there. But he's limited. He's had his problems. He was weak at crosses. His distribution was poor. And he started to make mistakes and so on. So I think he realised his time was up. Not getting a lot of money for him. I've got to say that's a bit disappointing. But I guess from a club's point of view, in terms of doing business, they're doing business quickly. We don't need the player. He's in surplus to requirements. If we take a loss, we take a loss. The money the players owe us kind of goes down over the years that we've got them. So the 20 million you pay for them, the player's still not worth that. It doesn't cost us that. So it kind of makes sense to be ruthless from that point of view and stop being nostalgic about players, which is something I think we've been guilty of for a long time. Tottenham fans as well, when the players' stock goes up so much when they're not playing, So, yeah, it was a nice message. He's a crazy guy, and if you've ever met his mum, she's a crazy lady as well. Really, really nice lady. Really, really all in. But as mad as a box of frogs as well. So you can see where he kind of gets it from. So good luck to him in Italy. I hope it kind of works out and he gets back to his real potential, because he's still got a lot to offer in my view. And the final one, just on James Maddison. He's a bit of a cheeky chappy, isn't he, James Maddison? There's obviously something been keeping him out. Now, whether that's because they're just being really, really careful with him, I don't know. It may well be that. This new medical stuff that they're all talking about, that could well be part of it. So potentially he is fit and ready to play. He is all smiles and so on. Got 45 minutes against Hoffenheim, didn't he? So potentially he could be coming back. We'll see. We definitely need that creative midfield spark, don't we? But is he going to be able to keep that up? We'll have to see, won't we? So anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching and listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching on YouTube, as I said, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It all helps. If you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. My name's Leader Dorset Spur. If you fancy popping over and saying hi to me, I'd love to have you over there. I'm chasing down 3,000 subscribers, trying to get there before the start of the season, which doesn't look likely if I'm being honest. But if not, that's not a problem. I'll see you on the next one. And as always, up the Spurs.